All right, our very last golf question involves bouncing off of two walls. And how I know this is going to be two walls, at first I actually thought maybe I could bounce this off the top and into the hole. I'm going to try it. And maybe you would try that if you were at a mini golf place. Well, if we do this the way we've learned, let's think about that. This is the wall we're going to bounce off of. So I'm going to reflect the hole, I'll call this H, over that wall. So I'm going to use the mirror this time, save some time. And if I reflect this accurately, it looks like H prime is right about there. Okay, so I reflected H over H prime. There I am. Now, if you try to go from the golf ball, G we'll call it, towards H prime, you notice you're going to get stuck at this corner. You're going to bounce off. So the ideal shot for a hole-in-one is blocked. I mean, if you really want to, you could still hit it off the wall, but there's no guarantee you're getting a hole-in-one as mathematically accurate as you could. So we need to do a second reflection. Now, what makes this challenging, something you want to maybe take a note of, if you have multiple reflections, if there's multiple reflections in a problem, or you can think of that as I'm hitting the ball off more than one wall, you have to reflect your reflection for each extra wall in the problem. So you always start by reflecting the hole. We got that. But now what made this tough for some people is we said, okay, if you can't just hit it off the top wall, logically, I don't think you're going to try and go like boom, boom, ba, 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 and hit the ball in. You're probably going to hit it off the left, off the top, and in. So we've already reflected off the top wall. The only other wall you're bouncing this ball off of is the left. That's where the protractor or the mirror is going to go. And when you do that, when you line that up right here, you're going to not reflect H. That's what a lot of people had thought you should do. Don't reflect H, reflect your reflection. That's what's going to help you figure out how to aim this, okay? So we're going to reflect H prime over here to show you practice with the protractor. What you could do if you forget how to use the mirror, if I extend this wall out a little bit, all right, I'm going to figure out how far H prime is from the line of reflection, and I'm going to draw that point over here. So if I line up my protractor as so, again, the line you want lined up on the target, if you will. All right, so there we go. H prime, it appears, is about 1, 2, 3.5, and maybe 1 or 2 tick marks after 3.5 millimeters. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3.5, and maybe 1 or 2 after for my H double prime. That's what we would call that because you've reflected it twice. You've made a reflection and then done it again. If you want to verify that you did that right, you can use the mirror. And it looks like we're pretty accurate. Let me double check. All right, I'm gonna put my finger right there. Yep, we're pretty good. So then what you would do, you wanna be careful. You want to draw from the golf ball towards the last thing you reflected, H double prime in this case. It's okay to draw through the picture. Obviously, you're not gonna smash the ball over here. You could hit a kid, so be careful. But if you do this as the first part of the path, where you hit the wall is where you then draw towards the next reflection.
Attention Spartans, at this time it is after 3:15. You should be with your activity sponsors or athletic coaches. All other students should exit the building. If you have any questions,
please see your dean. Thanks, Ms. Hernandez. Okay, so you hit towards H double prime, you then hit towards H prime, and lastly, where that hit the wall, you would draw towards H, like that. So your path is here, here, and then in. Now, if you had reflected H, which a lot of people did in class, it looks like it's the right path, but it actually wouldn't bounce accurately. The angles are actually off a little bit. So now the hard part, how do I write this as reflection notation? So we need some names for our walls. I'm gonna call this top one line T, and then I'll call this one line, and okay. So tell me what you did. The first thing you did is you reflected over line T, point H, and you got H prime. Cool. Then what you did was you reflected H prime over line K. I just extended it, and that gave me H double prime. So you could write that like this. Maybe you put first, second. If you want to get real fancy, you could write it all as one. So another way you could do that, for those of you who are like, yeah, I can do this, you could write the first reflection. I reflected point H over line T, and then technically that answer was reflected over line K, and in the very end, the last point was H double prime. So you could just label it as 2 steps, or if you want to get cool, you can write it as one big ol' reflection. But either one would be suitable. All right, so notation, that's one thing. If you can get the path down, that's our goal this week. That's been our goal so far. Notation will come with time, but again, so long as you understand what you do first, notation shouldn't be that bad. You're always reflecting H to get H prime. You're always going to write R. You just have to write the name of the line of reflection here. And if there's 2 steps, all right, just do it again with H prime and H double prime. All right, there you have it. That's 2 reflections on a golf problem.